Chapter 23, Letter 22, Using Strength to Fear the Opponent #. People who are good at negotiating should be able to observe everything. You don't even have to wait until you start to take the first step to get to know your opponent. Fifth, the opponent's goal and attitude. Try to judge the opponent's goal, and it is also important to try to penetrate the opponent's heart and understand his thoughts and feelings. When your competitor is someone you know very well, then you have to take advantage of this. If your opponent is a cautious person, then you'd better be more cautious. If you think he is always impulsive, perhaps this is suggesting you to be bold, otherwise you may be driven to ruin by him. However, you don't have to be acquainted with your opponents in order to understand them. As long as you can understand the details, you can find a lot of valuable things at the negotiating table. People who are good at negotiating should be able to observe everything. You don't even have to wait until you start to take the first step to get to know your opponent. In this letter, the author discusses the importance of understanding one's opponent in order to negotiate effectively. He emphasizes the importance of observing everything and understanding the opponent's goals and attitudes, and argues that this knowledge can be used to one's advantage in negotiations. One value that can be learned from this letter is strategic thinking. The author argues that in negotiations, it is important to be strategic and to use one's knowledge of the opponent to gain an advantage. This requires careful observation and analysis, as well as the ability to think creatively and adapt to changing circumstances. An example of this value in action can be seen in the story of Steve Jobs, who was known for his strategic thinking and his ability to anticipate and adapt to changing market conditions. Jobs was constantly analyzing his competitors and was willing to take risks in order to gain an advantage. This strategic thinking helped him to build one of the most successful companies in history, and his legacy continues to inspire business leaders today. Chapter 24, Letter 23, Have a Spirit of Cooperation #. Cooperation, in the eyes of those desperate, it may be an incompetent or self-deprecating thing. But in my opinion, cooperation is always a smart choice, provided that it is beneficial to me. In this letter, the author discusses the importance of having a spirit of cooperation. He acknowledges that some may view cooperation as a sign of incompetence or self-deprecation, but he argues that cooperation is always a smart choice when it benefits oneself. The author encourages readers to value cooperation and to seek out opportunities to work with others towards common goals. One value that can be learned from this letter is collaboration. The author highlights the benefits of working with others towards a common goal, rather than solely focusing on individual achievements. Collaboration can lead to greater success and can help individuals to achieve goals that may have been impossible to attain alone. An example of this value in action can be seen in the development of the COVID-19 vaccine. Scientists and researchers from around the world worked together to develop a vaccine in record time, collaborating and sharing information to accelerate the process. The result of their collaboration is a vaccine that has saved countless lives and brought hope to the world. Chapter 25, Letter 24, Win if not to be outdone #. In order to be respected by others, you must first feel that you are truly worthy of respect. And the more you respect yourself, the more others will respect you. Whether a person succeeds is not absolutely related to his height, weight, education or family background, but is determined by his spirit. Whether our spirit is firm or not determines our success. The most important one of these is that we must value ourselves, overcome the greatest weakness of mankind, self-deprecation, and never sell ourselves cheaply. You are greater than you think. Therefore, You should expand your thinking to the extent that you are real, and never underestimate yourself. In this letter, the author emphasizes the importance of valuing oneself and respecting oneself in order to be respected by others. He argues that one's success is not determined by external factors such as height, weight, education, or family background, but rather by one's spirit and the level of self-respect they hold. One value that can be learned from this letter is self-worth. The author encourages readers to value themselves and to never sell themselves short or underestimate their abilities. This is an important lesson for anyone who wants to achieve success, as self-worth and self-confidence are essential in order to pursue goals and overcome obstacles. An example of this value in action can be seen in the life of Oprah Winfrey. Despite growing up in poverty and facing numerous obstacles throughout her life, Winfrey believed in her own worth and value, and pursued her dreams relentlessly. Today, she is one of the most successful and influential media personalities in the world, and serves as an inspiration to millions. Chapter 27, Letter 26, Patience is Strategy #. Impulsiveness is our worst enemy at all times. If patience can resolve conflicts that shouldn't happen, such patience will always be worth it. In this letter, the author stresses the importance of patience in resolving conflicts and achieving success. He explains that impulsiveness can often lead to negative consequences and that taking the time to carefully consider a situation and be patient can ultimately lead to a better outcome. The author encourages readers to make patience a part of their strategy and to resist the urge to act impulsively in order to achieve their goals. One value that can be learned from this letter is patience. The author emphasizes that patience is a key strategy for success and encourages readers to resist the urge to act impulsively in order to achieve their goals. This is an important lesson for anyone who wants to achieve success, as patience is often necessary in order to achieve long-term goals. An example of this value in action can be seen in the story of Steve Jobs, who famously demonstrated patience and perseverance in his career. After being fired from Apple, the company he co-founded, Jobs went on to found Next and Pixar, both of which were successful ventures. Years later, Jobs returned to Apple and led the company to even greater success. His patience and determination ultimately paid off, and he is remembered as one of the greatest innovators of our time. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and follow us for more.